Thank you everyone for coming today. I am Charlene Burke, the president of the Westside Community Alliance, and firstly I would like to thank Hudson County Park System for giving us the space this morning, rearranging schedules for activities so that we could in fact hold this debate here today. I would also like to thank the team of Kayla Beryl from Lincoln Park North Neighborhood Association and Sharon McCormick from the McGinley Square Community Board for helping to put this together. There's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes to get these done. So I thank you all for coming today and those online for watching. And you know the two candidates that certainly have won the runoff, James McGreevey and James Solomon. They're here today. We have two moderators, Esther Wintner and Bridget D'Souza. They moderated our last mayor's forum. So I'm not going to go into much because we only have an hour with our candidates. So I would like them to introduce themselves and we'll go straight into the questions. And then they will complete the hour with a summation, and that will be our debate for today. So thank you again all for coming, and let's begin with James Solomon, if you would.
So, good morning, everyone. Thank you, Charlene. Thank you to all the members of WISCA and all of you for being out here at 10 a.m. on a Saturday thinking about how to make Jersey City a better, more affordable place. I am asking for your vote in the runoff on December 2nd to deliver a more affordable Jersey City and to get to have the greatest honor of my life to serve as mayor of the city that I truly love. Jersey City is where I both got and beat cancer. It's where my three daughters were both born and are now being raised, going to public school here in Jersey City. And we want and need a city that works for everyone. And unfortunately, over the last decade, we've seen the city become increasingly unaffordable. We have seen it be harder and harder to live and survive in Jersey City. And I think we need to take a new direction. We need to have genuine change for our city. And my campaign has been proud to be laser focused on affordability from day one, laser focused on delivering a better Jersey City. And I'm proud to be a candidate, as I have for my entire council races, who does not take money from big developers, because we have seen, any developers, but we have seen development too often serve developers, where the developers have taken so much and not given back enough. So we have a plan to build genuinely affordable housing, rents at $1,000 a month and under in some of the new projects. We have a plan to cap rent increases, and we have a plan to go after the corruption that has risen and made your property taxes higher and higher each year. And we can do that because we are independent from the political machine and real estate developers who have been at the root cause of driving our city in the wrong direction. And so I ask for your vote on December 2nd to help deliver that affordable Jersey City. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jim McGreevey. My grandparents came to this great city from Ireland, and my parents were raised. My mom was a charge nurse at the old medical center, and my father, after he worked in the railroad, went down to the United States Marine Corps. And we've been part of Jersey City life. I just think this election is not about rhetoric, but it's about a record. And when we look to Councilman Solomon has been on the city council for 8 years. During this time, I run a reentry program. We all know the record, that Jersey City has among the highest rent increases in the nation. Jersey City had among the highest property tax increases in the state of New Jersey. And so there's a record that we have to grapple with. And although Councilman Solomon will say I voted against the budget, that simply isn't enough. You have to propose an alternative budget. And so what I would argue is that my commitment as, God willing, the next mayor, is to not increase property taxes for the municipal portion of that budget in year one. And I'm also concerned at the fact that if you look at Councilman Solomon's record, not a single person was served by right to counsel. Not a single affordable unit was built in downtown. And Councilman Solomon's solution to controlling the budget was to cut policing. again and again and again. He would sacrifice public safety in that effort. So I would respectfully suggest this campaign is about a record. It's not simply about rhetoric. It's about what we've done or not done. Thank you.
If I may, I rules of debate that when we respond, I mentioned directly we want to be able to respond. And I think it's unfortunate that the governor chose in his introduction to spend more time talking about me than about all of you, right? I spent my introduction talking about how to make your lives better. And that's what my commitment is. Now, unfortunately, in the introduction, he told you things that were blatantly false, that were lies. But I have to respond, because that he mentioned me by name in his response. So he said we built no affordable housing. That's false. We built a new homeless shelter downtown, doubled its capacity, included genuinely affordable housing. We have affordable housing moving in projects at 660 Grove, 619 Merritt, 72 Montgomery. It's simply false. But here's the difference.
Thank you,
I don't
Councilman
take
Solomon.
money from developers so that I can actually deliver an affordable Jersey City for you.
Councilman Solomon, can I please ask for the floor? So what I'd like to emphasize is that we're going to have a structured order to this forum so that the public here and remotely who are watching can get the most out of both the questions and the answers. So we have structured rebuttal time for 30 seconds, and Esther and I will provide rebuttal time if, we're going to basically control the rebuttal time. We have put work into creating questions that we have worked on and also that the community has provided, and we want to afford maximum utility of everyone's time and you, the candidates, with an organized approach here.
Thank you, Bridget. We'll start with a little warm-up here. For James?
We
Both
two James,
okay.
yeah.
For Solomon.
Oh,
You're Jim and he's James. Solomon, would you support changing the time of the municipal election back to the spring? You have 30 seconds to answer.
No. I support keeping the elections in November. I respect the different views on this, that a May election allows for more focus on the municipal elections. However, I think November elections have shown, and we saw in this election, that you get significantly higher turnout. I think it's important that we have as many voters as possible weighing in. We had nearly 65,000 voters in this last mayoral election. That is massively more than we've had in any prior mayoral election. And so you've got a genuine representation of the views of the Jersey City electorate. So I respect the question, but my answer is no.
Thank you.
My answer is yes. I prefer spring as opposed to winter.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you support the idea of an appointed school board?
We're going the same order? Okay, sure. No, I think we need to remain where we have it right now, where we have the elected school board, but my commitment, unlike the current mayor, who I think has oftentimes washed his hands of the school board, is to directly engage in school board elections. In 2024, I was the only candidate who was willing to support change candidates because, simply put, the school district and the school board isn't doing enough. Now, my daughters go to public school here in Jersey City, so what happens to them is the most important thing in my life. So what happens to all the children in Jersey City is the thing that I'm going to be thinking the most about. And so I'm going to be committed and engaged in school board elections, but I don't think we need an appointed board.
I agree with James. No, we don't need an appointed board, but we do need a mayor who's going to work with the school district. We do need a mayor who's going to understand the importance of bringing more money back from Trenton, more money back from the federal government. Clearly, all the things that need to be done within our school district, whether it's early childhood literacy, whether it's literacy coaches, whether it's support for our teachers, whether it's vocational education, whether it's school construction, cannot be done on the backs of the property taxpayers. I want to be that mayor who supports and works with the school district to rebuild schools from World War I for this next generation.
Thank you. Okay, next question. We're going to transition into taxes and property owners. You'll have 30 seconds to answer this question, so McGreevey, you'll go first. There is currently an ordinance to grant a 30-year abatement in Newport that will be voted on at the next council meeting. The property has already received the benefit of a tax break for almost 40 years through the New Jersey Housing and Mortgage Finance Agency. Do you think this area of downtown is in continued need of long-term abatements?
Probably not. My position is on abatements. Abatements are only good if they're going to render a community benefit to the larger community. And whether it's schools, whether it's recreation, we have to understand that the purpose of an abatement is to serve the community. And so whether we're investing in new schools, we're investing in new recreational centers, that's how we use an abatement as a means of spurring increased investment for community benefits. That has to be our focus.
So first, I've had a clear position for 8 years. No abatements for luxury-only housing. That is what got us into this mess. It has given millions of dollars to well-connected developers who funnel money into campaigns to buy politicians, which is why I do not take a cent of developer money. And that is why I voted against every luxury abatement on the council, including for the Pompano, which was a $150 million giveaway to the Kushner family. Now, on this specific abatement, my answer is no, it is not justified. We do need to keep affordable housing, but this does not do what we need it to do.
We will have additional questions about property tax, but as an upfront frame, can you please share 2 to 3 specific strategies you would employ to reduce or stabilize city property tax? And Mr. Solomon.
How long?
There's still 30 seconds.
Apologies, this is a 30-second.
Okay, got it. Yes. All right. So first, what I did on the council, we audited some of the big corporations and big contractors who weren't paying what they owe. And we found that 90% of the big contractors who big the high-rises weren't even registered for the payroll tax. So we got tough on them, we cracked down, and we got millions in new revenue that didn't fall on the backs of your property taxpayers. Now, I did that as me and a staff of 2. As mayor, we can do so much more. We're going to start by auditing every big tax break that's been given to a developer and returning millions back to you. Second, we're going to replace the leadership of the budget office and make sure we are making smart, sensible decisions for our budget.
Right now, today, Jersey City is facing a $150 million shortfall. If nothing else gets done, the property tax portion allocated to the municipality could go up as high as 30%. So the point is, God bless James and who's ever on the council doing what they're doing, but it's simply not enough. Property taxes in Jersey City were among the highest increases in the state and rents in the nation. It has to change.
This next question, you will have 30 seconds to respond. We'll start with James Solomon. Do you have aspirations to seek higher or other public office beyond the mayor's seat?
Being mayor is the dream job. That is the job where I get to get up each and every day and serve the community that I love, serve the community that helped me get through my cancer treatment, serve the community where my daughters were born and go to public school, and then at the end of the night I get to go home and put them to bed. There is no better job in the world than being the mayor of Jersey City.
Is that a yes or a no?
No, I do not have other aspirations. We were asked this at the JSQ forum, and it was very clear. The only position is mayor.
Thank you.
My next position will be in my grandmother's grave at Holy Cross. I just want to say, I want to be a one-term mayor. That's all I want. 4 years to fix this, to make sure the structural underpinnings of the budget are addressed, to make sure we're on a road of fiscal sanity, and to make sure that Jersey City's working families aren't driven out by the downtown crowd. Next up, Holy Cross.
This is a 90-second question. There will be an upfront frame simply to help explain some of the details to the public. So in 2025, the city budget included an $85 million structural imbalance related to abatement revenues that will be expiring or terminated. and a $33 million structural imbalance related to land sales. As mayor, how will you address this structural imbalance as pilot revenues decline to the city and get redistributed to the county and the schools? And how would you maintain fiscal stability without overburdening homeowners or reducing essential city services? Mr. McGreevey, I believe you're up first.
Sure. You know, first I'd go back to zero-based budgeting. We can't assume that there's going to be increase after increase after increase in every department from now to the end of time. Zero-based budgeting, every department, every division goes back to zero and justifies every expense. And candidly, we have to look at where there's duplication. We have to be able to have the courage to cut out duplication. Secondly, debt management. We have to understand that the debt has been piling up and we have to amortize our debt over a longer period of time. And we have to understand when these dollars are diminished, what are we going to do? My perspective is, yes, the only place for abatements is either on affordable housing or if it's going to provide a community benefit, whether it's a school, whether it's a recreation center, whether it's a pool. That's the sole area. And the other point is we have to stop these nonsense discretionary projects. I was the first person to come out in an editorial against the Pompidou. I said clearly, of the top 50 things Jersey City needs, a French museum is not one of them. So part of this is, as governor, I closed a $14 million deficit in 2 years. Part of this is mayor of Woodbridge, I did it. Let me just say this, James Solomon is an incredibly likable young guy. And in 4 years, he'll be a great mayor. But this is the time to clean up Jersey City.
So, the time to clean up Jersey City is now, and we're going to clean it up, not by going back to the failed policies and politics of the past, actually advancing Jersey City forward without relying on the same developers who have funded my opponent's campaign, given him nearly $1 million, the same developers who have gotten the sweetheart deals that caused the budget deficit just referenced. So I don't take the money from the developers so that I can deliver for you. Now here's what we're going to do. I talked about it earlier, but talk about it again. How do you solve this budget deficit? First, make sure developers pay their fair share. Audit every tax break, audit all their payroll tax that they're not paying, and ensure that the people of Jersey City are getting a fair shake. Second, you got to get tough and say no. That's what I've done on the council. Every time Mayor Fulop said, hey, I'm going to use a little budget hole, I'm going to patch it up with a Band-Aid, use a land sale. Every single time we said no, we offered alternatives, and when I get into office, we're going to replace the people who came up with this failed strategy, and we're going to put in place a serious budget plan. Last but not least, I have a firm commitment to every person in this room. No more of these huge tax increases. We are going to stabilize your property taxes by ensuring that developers and corporations pay their fair share.
You will have 90 seconds to answer this question. We'll start with Ms. McGreevey. Jersey City's recent annual audit report and the follow-on corrective action plan approved this past Wednesday by the City Council revealed a litany of highly concerning issues, including a lack of compliance with New Jersey local budget law, material weaknesses in internal controls, lack of clearly assigned responsibilities and deadlines to ensure timely closing procedures for year-end financial reports. How will you address these failures in oversight and ensure these mistakes are not repeated? You have 90 seconds.
90 seconds. Start a prayer vigil. So what we need to understand is these audits have been disastrous for the past 4 years. With all due respect, when James says I produced alternatives, the only time he's willing to cut is when it comes to cut the police department. And so what I need to understand is, and I think what we all understand is, if we don't have fiscal integrity, the size of the municipal budget is $700 million. If James does everything that he aspires to do, we will still not address the need for increasing property taxes unless you're willing to make these corrective action changes. And so for me, is bringing in RSM, one of the 4 best auditors for forensic audit, literally in the nation. It's bringing in a comprehensive budget SWAT team to make sure that we make those corrective actions, whether it's on cash flow, whether it's on personnel and compliance, and also bring in a fiscal attorney to oversee our adherence to those changes. This is important not only because of our bond rating, not only because of our fiscal health, but indeed long-term it will determine our potential tax liability. So we need to address these red flags now. And this has been going on, my friends, for 4 long years among the most egregious violations to accepted auditing practices.
You know, I'm not going to do what the former governor just said, which is tell you why we can't do things. But we can't make our city more affordable. We can't ensure that tenants can stay in their homes and stabilize property taxes. We have a plan to do it. So we are going to ensure that, again, the developers and corporations pay their fair share. We are going to replace the people in City Hall who led these disastrous budget decisions, starting with the mayor and then the staff that made these mistakes. And then we are going to ensure that each and every day we are fighting for you. So let me tell you about one of the things I know we can do. I was the first candidate and first campaign to propose actually building workforce housing in the city. So the people who serve our city can not just stay in our city, they can own a piece of it. And we're going to take abandoned lots and vacant buildings that are blights in our neighborhood, and we are going to turn them into rent-to-own workforce housing for our professionals, our public servants, our teachers, our police officers, our firefighters, and our nurses. And I was the first campaign to put that out and to ensure that we were going to do it, because I am focused on making your life better. I'm not focused on trying to attack opponents. I'm not trying to focus on rhetoric, on helping the donors to campaigns. I'm focused on your life each and every day to ensure we have a Jersey City that is affordable for all.
Mr. Solomon, I will give you 30 seconds to address the question a little bit more directly in terms of what you will do to address the failures in oversight and make certain that those mistakes are not repeated. What strategies, what will you do to make sure that that doesn't occur again?
Sure. So personnel is policy, right? And I've been very clear for, again, first candidate to say, we have to replace the leadership of our budget offices. We have to have new auditors in place in the city to ensure that we have the deep forensic audits to ensure that we're finding and cutting out waste. So it is very clear, right? It starts with personnel. Personnel is directly responsible for the failures of control. And so we're going to have an entirely new leadership, starting at the top and directly into our finance departments.
You have 30 seconds to
You're wishing for a new team. It's too little too late. This has been going on for 12 years. The red flags in the audit are 4 years. Audit after audit after audit after audit. So to say at this point in time we need a new team is an absurdity. And then, to make matters worse, James says, I'm going to help make things affordable. $1,000 a month rent is ludicrous. That's not being progressive. That's not telling the truth.
Let me respond. Again, I got to respond, Esther. Esther, I need 30 seconds to respond. Seconds to respond to that.
That's highly disrespectful.
That's who he is.
We'll move on to the next question.
Please. Exactly who he is, right there. He just
Excuse me, if we can, we realize that there's difference of opinions. This is a civil forum. Let's remain civil, and we will not address all discrepancies in this 1 hour. We are doing the best to get through a full list of questions. The 1 hour was set it was given to us, so we are trying to get through the full list of questions, which includes other topics. Let's move to education, please. And Mr. Solomon, you can answer this first. This is a 60-second question. As mayor, you have no direct authority over the local schools, which are a separate local government. That said, a mayor does have a large public pulpit, both in the local community, at the county level, and with state level agencies to advocate on behalf of our community's public schools. Can you please share 3 ways that you would advocate on behalf of the public schools if elected? 3 concrete ways.
Yeah, absolutely. So important that we talking about what we can do. And we can have the best urban public school district in the country. And it starts first with investing in our young people. As a mayor, you don't directly control the schools, but you can invest in the young people of their city. So that's why we put out a plan to create 1,000 summer jobs. We have less opportunities for young people today than we did 30 years ago, which is a travesty for our city. So we're going to invest in our young people, create those 1,000 summer jobs, create the first free municipal rec center that will be open for all children in the city. And then we're going to have a deputy mayor for education to ensure the lack of coordination that has plagued the city and the school district is solved. We'll have a leader that is pushing and moving forward. Last but not least, we are going to fight and push the school district to improve their literacy programs. And if the school district doesn't do what it needs to do, I will, as I have done in the past during my entire career, engage in school board elections and ensure we are electing professional, competent leaders to run our school district.
Senator Vin Gopal is the chairman of the Higher Education Committee. And I went down, literally I was the only person from Jersey City testifying on how Jersey City needs more money. And the reality is that the state of New Jersey cut, and Commissioner O'Day has said this, by approximately $250 million. Problem is the state funding formula is tied to assets, and that is the development downtown. But the reality is for our children, many of them need individualized education plans. Many of them are suffering from disabilities. And so we have to make a different legal argument to the state of New Jersey to bring those dollars. Second, and I think this is imperative, I want to be the mayor that works with the school district cooperatively to not only increase literacy scores, but bring in the private sector. Work with them. I think James's idea, and I strongly support it for having summer youth jobs, is a good one. But we need to work, I'm done. But we need to work cooperatively with the private sector, with the state of New Jersey, with the federal government. Thank you, Esther.
We're going to do a quick lightning round. This is yes or no. Do you support bringing red light cameras to Jersey City, Mr. Solomon?
Yes, and we're going to get the state legislation to get it done.
Yes.
It is being proposed to change Bergen Avenue and MLK from 2-way to 1-way streets. Do you support going forward with this proposal, Mr. McGreevey?
It should be up to the residents. So my whole point in this perspective is it should have residential input and the residents should not.
Thank you. Yes or no?
And the residents say no. No.
No.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This next question is directed to Councilman Solomon. You will have 90 seconds to respond to this question. You have noted in your policy paper that you would use affordable housing trust funds to create more units using development impact fees. Resolution 25-275 notes that the Affordable Housing Trust Fund was $6.8 million as of November 2024. How many units do you anticipate being able to build each year based on this starting baseline?
Thank you for that question. So let me tell you what we did, which gets into that. For years, we had a luxury-only development model in Jersey City. That is a failed model, and is the model that developers are desperate to keep, which is why they're giving my opponent nearly $1 million. The same developers who have gotten deal after deal after deal in Jersey City. Now, We put in place a fee that any time a development comes now, they must pay into the Affordable Housing Trust Fund. We had to beat the developer lobby that is funding my opponent's campaign to get that in place. And we are going to use that money to build genuinely affordable units. Now, we anticipate when that fee is fully implemented after you deal with some planning board stuff, that we'll be getting nearly $20 million a year through that fee. We have the whole projections and everything. That will allow us to fund a right to counsel to keep tenants in their homes, giving them access to free attorney. It will allow us to fund the construction of hundreds of affordable housing units just using that money, let alone all the other ways we're going to build affordable housing money. And it is going to allow us to create the genuinely affordable unit that the former governor lies and tells you we can't have. Because I am here to run to make your life better, not tell you how it's not possible. And so what I'm going to do is what we do, it's called a buy down, and we're going to create genuinely affordable units with 30% of AMI. They can rent starting at $700 for a studio and $800 to $900 for 1 and 2 bedrooms. We are moving forward with those projects now. These says they're not possible. They're coming at Bayfront. They're coming at 72 Montgomery. Those units are coming because we fought the real estate lobby to deliver them. And as mayor, we're going to bring hundreds more and thousands of genuinely affordable units in Jersey City.
I asked the audience not to clap because apparently the people on Zoom cannot hear when we clap, and as much as I love the rowdiness, we'll have to behave, okay? Councilman Solomon, I'd like to go back to that question. Have you done an analysis or a study as to how many units you anticipate to build each year based on that starting level of 6.8 million?
You said the starting level, but we are going to get more money because we passed a development impact fee, which means when fully implemented, it will be delivering between $15 to $20 million annually. And that money, hold on, and that money is divided. So 20% goes to right to counsel, then you're going to have an additional 30 to 50% to build new units, and then an additional 30% for repairs to existing units. Of the 30 to 50% that will go in there, so you're talking about between $8 to $10 million, that will be able to produce hundreds of units of new affordable housing.
So Resolution 25-275 on page 11 shows that the projected revenue is $53 million over the course of 11 years. That comes out to $5.7 million per year, okay? Less the 20%, which leaves us, less 20% for the RTC, which leaves us with about $4.5 million.
Which will produce...
$4.5 million. So, at $4.5 million per year...
Esther, I will send you the literal spreadsheet that Isaac is here. Isaac, can you raise your hand?
Share the numbers.
Isaac will send you the spreadsheet, which has the projections that we went literally plot by plot in the city to create. We will send it to you.
Can I respond? To the question. Yeah. This is more magical thinking. This is more magical thinking. This is telling you that we're going to have free bus rides. This is we're going to tell you you're going to have $750 rents, $1,000 rents. It's not happening, Jersey City. I want to be honest with you. We can get affordable. We can get affordable. But we have to do the determination. In fact, James's perspective on some of these issues is right. We have to reclaim distressed properties. When we see market rate housing, we have to provide for affordable housing. We have to make sure that we have housing for our firemen, for our police officers, for our teachers.
Thank you.
But we have to be honest with our numbers.
Thank you, gentlemen. Okay, next question, and this is directed to you, Mr. McGreevey. You will have 90 seconds to respond to this. On your website, you have committed to creating 1,000 affordable homes and 500 affordable rentals for seniors. Can you explain the specific strategies, funding sources, and partnerships you would use to deliver these units, and what timeline residents should realistically expect?
So, our perspective is, obviously you would use LIHTC, you would use Aspire, the state programs that provide for incentives. So basically the city would make strategic investments in terms of supporting whether it's Aspire and LIHTC, which are state finance programs from the State Housing Mortgage and Finance Agency. For senior citizens, I think the most appropriate use is with our faith-based community. I mean, I've talked to reverends, I've talked to churches, I've talked to temples, I've talked to mosques, where we're interested in upzoning. And the beauty of upzoning is the same way that they have egregious upzoning downtown is to provide for a church, whether it's St. Joseph's, the Masjid on Montgomery, to provide for building the construction of affordable housing for seniors and market rate housing. So the point is, if we're waiting for the developers to provide for affordable housing for seniors, we're going to wait to the Armageddon. My purpose is to work cooperatively with houses of worship. And then in terms of available housing and opportunities for affordable housing, use city land. And what the tragedy is, when I talked about that $150 million debt, the city's about to sell a precious piece of real estate adjacent to Jersey City Medical Center that's ideal for affordable housing. This is another example of basically
Thank you, Mr.
making
McGreevey.
bad decisions and patching over bad financial
Thank
realities.
you, Mr. McGreevey. Please hold your applause for people on Zoom. Mr. McGreevey, I'll ask you again, what timeline should residents realistically expect?
I'm out in 4 years, 4 years. 4 years. I'll get this done in 4 years. The singularity of focus, 1,000 affordable, 500 seniors.
Okay, I realize there's enthusiasm, but you are denying people on Zoom the ability to hear all of the responses. So please, out of respect for your fellow community members, please restrain from clapping and speaking during the answers. Thank you. This question is for both candidates. We'll start with Mr. McGreevey, and this will be 60 seconds. Multiple reports this year and in years past have criticized Jersey City's landlord-tenant office for backlogs, inconsistent rent control enforcement, and slow response times to tenant complaints. As mayor, what are 3 specific actions you would enact in your first 100 days to enforce rent control protections and prevent illegal rent hikes? 60 seconds. Mr.
This is my 1, 2, and 3. A tenant advocacy unit in the mayor's office, based on what Mayor Stack does in Union City. With no disrespect, James, I think was well-intended, right to counsel, outside attorney. I want them reporting to the mayor. I want to know where there are egregious violations. I want to know where there are uncontrollable or illegal rent increases. I want to know when landlords are spuriously charging renters for reforms or updates, and then going back and trying to use that as a precursor to increase the rent. We're going to have a tenant rights advocacy unit in the mayor's office, reporting to the mayor with a line. If somebody has a problem, they're calling the mayor's office. That's going to be allocated, and we're going to get a report back within a week, and we're going to have a plan of action. And I'm also saying this. I've seen people, a gentleman that I visited with my dear friend Hennessy, a landlord literally moved his ramp. We're going to make sure individuals who violate the law are prosecuted.
Thank you, Mr. McGreevey. Mr. Zoller?
We are going to take on and defeat the slumlords who have been pushing out the residents of Jersey City. I remember talking to a young woman on Central Avenue. Her rent was illegally raised from $1,500 to $2,500 in just 2 years.
This next question is directed to Mr. McGreevey. You will have 90 seconds to respond.
Thanks, Ed.
You're welcome. Your history has left many voters questioning your judgment and trustworthiness. What makes you deserving of a second chance, and what concrete safeguards or changes have you put in place to ensure you don't repeat the mistakes of your past?
Sure, 90 seconds. Can I go for a minute 20? No. So let me just say, you know, the decision that I made as a human being gay and grappling with my sexuality, I'm pretty sure I know who I am now. I'm gay. So obviously that was a process of turmoil, pain, that I apologize to my family, to my state, and to others. But, you know, this is something that's frustrating. You know, I've seen what people have said about JSEP. When I ran Jersey City Employment and Training, we brought in over $9 million. And it was, unfortunately, deteriorated to political feud. I had 8 audits that I published on our website. Then we brought in RSM, one of the leading auditing firms in the world, who said we did everything right. And I understood I wasn't the flavor du jour and I was asked to leave, and that's okay. But you can't say that Jim McGreevey, I live on 25 Garrison with 2 cats in a rented place, Jim McGreevey never took a dime from anyone. And that I know. And that's what the audit showed, and that's what we posted. So I just want to be clear, yes, have I made mistakes in life?
You have to say it, of course. We all do.
I have. But what I do is work, and I really believe what's important, as James said, is to have an ethical watchdog in City Hall to make sure that people are making the right decisions. Thanks, Esther.
Mr. Solomon, you are a 2-term councilman who has represented constituents in your ward, but based on your own about page on your website, you have never had a paid executive position with responsibility for managing a large budget or large staff. So one question that voters have is, how can they trust or ensure that you are equipped and ready to manage a $700+ million budget with a $100 million structural imbalance that will require management of nearly 3,000 employees?
So let's start with how we've managed our campaigns. I just ran a $2.5 million campaign. The former governor just ran a $5 million campaign. He spent twice as much money to receive fewer votes than I did in the general election. That's about management. That's about smart decisions. It's about managing your team. It's about knowing what to spend on and what not to spend on. So that is management experience that you've just proven to show that I can do it. But then let's talk about record on the council. No council member in the entire state of New Jersey has passed more legislation than I have. We were the first in the state to ban the use of AI algorithms that are jacking up your rent illegally. We audited the big developers, contractors, and corporations and found millions and then collected it and got it to you. That is a job the mayor was supposed to be doing and the mayor's administration was supposed to be doing. So I have a clear track record of proving. Now the last thing though is humility. Right? I know that I'm capable for the job, but I also know that I have to surround myself with the people to help me there. So I'm not going to walk in and say, hey, I'm just there, I'm going to be the mayor, and it's going to be siloed. We're going to bring in the best and the brightest to be in positions all across the city. I think it is most important that you are never the smartest person in a room. So when you're talking about finance, you need your finance director to be the best finance person possible. When you're talking about law and HR, you need to have the best, smartest people in the room who know more than you do, so you are surrounded by them to help you manage. Thank you.
You will each have 60 seconds to respond to the next question. As mayor, would you commit to a full independent audit of the police department in your first 6 months of being elected, both operationally and financially, to determine if resources are being used effectively? And if that audit showed inefficiencies, would you be willing to make leadership or structural changes within the department, even if that meant taking on the police union and political allies? Mr. McGreevey, you can go first.
The answer is yes. But police, we can't make the mistake of turning the police department into a punching bag. That's an egregious mistake. And so we have to make sure that community safety works, whether you're on Bergen or in Lafayette or in the Heights or downtown. And what I'm frustrated is, yes, we clearly need to remove Director Shea, but my frustration is why do we see police officers downtown and we don't see them in all the sections of the community? And return community policing. My grandfather was a Jersey City PD. Return community policing so they walk the beat so people know them in the community. And let me just respond to what James said in the last response. Is you can't learn this on the job. Being mayor, whether it's amortizing debt, whether it's understanding budget points, whether it's reviewing the individual violations in an audit.
Thank you. Mr. Solomon?
With respect here, we all have Google, and your track record as an executive ended in disgrace, resignation, the biggest tax increases in New Jersey state history, a budget maneuver that was then made illegal by the state Supreme Court. That is not the experience that we need in office. Now, what we're going to do on our police department,
Please stop.
Yes, we don't. What we're going to do is ensure that we know that we need change at the top. We are going to immediately get rid of Director Shea. We are going to bring in new leadership for our police department. We are going to get the community policing that we need, get new officers on the beat, and we are going to invest in the broader community so we have an all-of-the strategy to make our city safe.
This next question, you will have 60 seconds to answer. Mr. Solomon, you can answer first. Many infrastructure projects in Jersey City, for example, the extension of the Hudson Bergen Light Rail related to Bayfront's development, rely heavily on partnerships with state agencies like NJ Transit. How would you, if elected mayor, ensure coordination with state agencies to deliver major infrastructure projects like the Bayfront Light Rail Station on schedule and within budget?
Yeah, it's a phenomenal question. So we had phenomenal news on that front yesterday. I was proud to join with advocates that for 2 to 3 years pushed Port Authority to make better investments. Everyone said that was not doable. It's like a Port Authority is not going to make better investments. And we said, no, we are going to build a genuine coalition to push. We're going to do both the inside and the outside, do the public campaign, and then have the internal conversations. And just yesterday, Port Authority announced they're doing what we've been asking them to do. They're going to eliminate the Hoboken stop. They're going to create 10-minute headways on the weekends and deliver massively better service for the people of Jersey City. We're going to do the same with NJ Transit. What we are going to do is say to the future governor, Governor-elect Cheryl, which is wonderful, we're going to say our number one priority is investments in transit. Not the Pompidou, not things that are not essential to Jersey City like the prior mayor got distracted with. And we're going to say transit is the number one investment, and we are going to partner with you to extend the light rail over to Bayfront, build a new station at 18th and Jersey, and make our buses run on time. Thank you.
You know, what James said, I mean, I've also had the ability to meet with the chairman of the Port Authority, with the chief of staff, and obviously those changes in the Port Authority are so welcome and so needed. My concern is some of the rate increases that are commensurate with that and how it impacts working families. But yes, work with New Jersey Transit, also understanding the importance of expanding light rail is critically of concern. The other infrastructure concern that I have is our sewers. Our sewers. 50% of Jersey City's sewers are over 100 years old. And we will increasingly have breakages and flooding. And so it's working with the Economic Development Authority. It's working with the Infrastructure Bank. The cost of repairing those 50% of sewers is $6.2 billion with a B. In certain parts of the city, downtown, we've increased demand by 40%. We haven't increased sewer capacity by 40%. So, God willing, it's past relationships in Trenton to bring those dollars to Jersey City.
Thank you, Mr. McGreevey.
No clapping. I was teasing.
Thank you.
I don't want to get in trouble.
You'll have 60 seconds to answer this next question. It's from the community. Many residents have noticed that the streets often look dirtier after trash pickup and that sidewalk cleanliness has declined, especially on the west side where sidewalk cleaners used to be present. What is your specific concrete plan to improve day-to-day street cleanliness, hold waste contractors accountable, and restore or enhance sidewalk cleaning services? And please be specific.
Who's going first?
Mr. McGreevey, please.
You know, there's a basic inequity between downtown and the west side. And whether I'm driving on the west side, I see it all of the time. So in terms of specifics, we have to have community meetings on street sweepers, on what is required and when, what side of the street, how often. That's one. Second, we also need to figure out in terms of receptacles, how many receptacles placed where. Third, I think we also need community policing because we have individuals that are dumping illegally on our streets and even into receptacles. So what I think which is so critically important is to have a unit in City Hall focused on quality of life issues. A quality of life task force that's assigned from all of the various divisions to go out and do a SWAT team and to literally charge those property owners who are failing to comply, but then also to hold the city responsible.
Thank you.
Step one, fire the trash contractor that does a abysmal job that makes our streets dirtier after they come. Now, unfortunately, that trash contractor has donated to Governor McGreevey's campaign thousands of dollars. They've given me zero because I intend to fire them for doing a bad job. Now, second, we are going to create trash receptacles, one on every corner, and then force the new trash contractor to pick them up at least twice a day. Third, more litter patrol, because we need more litter patrol to make our city's streets cleaner. And last, require folks to put trash out in containers, starting with the big buildings and the big landlords.
Thank you. This next question is another question from the community. You will have 60 seconds to answer, and Councilman Solomon, you'll go first. With the rapid increase in new high-rise developments, many buildings are providing inadequate parking for their residents. This is pushing more cars onto the neighborhood streets and making parking significantly harder for longtime residents, many of whom rely on their cars to get to work. What concrete steps will you take to ensure that new developments provide sufficient parking, and how will you address the current shortage?
Sure. So we have done, and what we will do is go case by case across the city. First, because I don't take money from developers, none of them can demand we do whatever they want us to do. We are going to make sure we do what is right for the community. Now, development next to a pass station is different than a development on 440. On 440, you can't say no parking in the building because there's not accessible transit. Next to a pass station, that's a different story. So we're going to take each project by project, and make sure we are getting what the community needs. Now, a couple things. One, we are going to continue to put in place the rule that requires all parking spaces to be taken inside a development before you're eligible for a residential parking permit. We are also going to improve our mass transit options so that anyone who doesn't need a car can have access to transit, but those who do need a car can have access to parking and infrastructure on our streets. Thank you.
My frustration is, James has been there for 8 years. This parking debacle has been worsening and worsening. It's not as if it just happened in the last 6 months. It's not just happened in the last year. Parking has become, it's a fitness test, particularly on the west side. I come home at night and I'm driving down Stuyvesant, I'm driving on West Side looking for parking. Clearly, we haven't provided for enough parking, especially in this part of the city. People are forced, if they want to go west, they need a car. And so one, I believe that we have to provide parking, we have to bring back a parking authority to work with our special improvement districts so that residents can use the parking authority parking in the evening while businesses use it during the day. I also want the permit decals to make sure that it's only Jersey City. It's only your block that's parking on that street. And so I simply, the parking crisis didn't come yesterday.
Thank you, Mr. McGreevey.
Thank you.
I'd like to do a quick follow-up on that. A lot of the new developments that have gone up have a low ratio of parking spaces to parking units within the building. Would you...
Parking spaces, parking units.
Parking spaces in the building, right. So it's a low ratio of parking spaces in the building to the units. Would you increase that ratio to one-on-one or at least 50%? A simple yes or no. Mr. McGreevey?
Nothing's that simple. It depends on where the building is. To James's point, if it's next to a path station, no. I mean, that's common sense. It's a transit building. But if it's on West Side, on SIP, yes, I would increase the parking liability. Also, I'll be driving around for 2 hours.
We get the gist.
Thank you.
James? Thank you. Okay.
All right, agreement here, consensus.
Thank you. We're going to try to squeeze in one more question. Many residents believe city jobs go to political allies, cronies, or family members instead of qualified applicants. If elected mayor, how will you dismantle this system of cronyism and make the city employment truly open to all qualified residents? James Solomon first.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let's give this 60 seconds.
Yeah. So I think one of the things I'm so proud of is the staffs that I built in City Hall always are from the community and are not political appointees. So my 2 chiefs of staff started as interns, both were NJCU students and NJCU grads, and they were just hired because they kicked butt, because they were awesome Jersey City young people with immense talent. That's how I've always done it, and that's how we're going to do it in City Hall. We are not going to hire someone. I'm not part of the machine. I don't owe anyone anything. I can just hire the best person for the job. And to root out the corruption, the idea that I have, that the governor referenced earlier, is to have a municipal inspector general, someone with subpoena power who can look and find corruption, waste, fraud, and abuse anywhere in city government. And that knows, people are going to now know, hey, someone's watching. I can't keep doing what I've always done.
You know, I would govern the way I do at New Jersey Reentry or as mayor. We have among the most diverse workforces in the state, highest percentage of women, diverse backgrounds, immigrants, the complete diversity. At the end of the day, we're here to do a job. And it's not, you're not hiring the best person just because they're the best person, but they're going to help to provide the best service to the community. And so for me, as I think with James, that's a cardinal virtue. And so we even hire McNair students. I go out on a limb. That's a joke. But again, it's about hiring people that are willing to work, that are from Jersey City and resemble Jersey City. Thank you.
So we'd like to thank you on behalf of the community organizations and the public for your time. As we close this event, you will each have 1 minute to make your closing remarks. We'll start with James Solomon.
All right. Thank you, Esther and Bridget. Thank you, Wiska. Thank you, Governor McGreevey. Thank all of you again for being here. I am asking for your vote on December 2nd to make a more affordable Jersey City. For too long, we've had developers running our city, and they pour millions into the political system to get what they want. Luxury-owned buildings, rent increases up the wazoo with no limits, and that changes on December 2nd. I am independent from developers, I don't take a cent of their money, and we have a plan to make Jersey City affordable. Require them to put 20% affordable in large new projects with some rents at $1,000 a month or less. We have a plan to cap rent increases, and we have a plan to go after the corruption that has forced your property taxes up and up and up. And if you elect me, an independent councilperson, to be your mayor, I will deliver an affordable Jersey City for all. Thank you.
I like James Solomon. I know I'm going to get beat up for that from the campaign manager. I like James Solomon, and I even like his wife more. He's a decent human being. But this election is about cleaning up a mess. This election is about fiscal irregularities, bad audits, parking that is insufficient, infrastructure that's lacking, streets that are filthy, a school system that isn't supported. And James has been here for 8 years. James has been here. So I'm not saying that I have all the answers, but I'm not going to give you magical talk. We're going to do the basics and do them well. And that's what I did for 10 years as mayor, and that's my commitment to you. 4 years, hard work, back to reentry. And my reentry organization has been recognized as a national model because we work hard and, God willing, smart. I ask for your consideration on December 2nd. Thank you.
Thank you, James McGreevey. Thank you, James Solomon. A big hand to everyone up here, the mayor, the mayoral candidates, and vote on December 2nd. Make sure you vote. Thank you.